I'm Beth Ann.
What's up? I'm Ayla.
This is Let's Talk BL, a boys love podcast.
Welcome back to the podcast. It is Sunday, Series Sunday, that day of the week where we talk all things one series and one series only. And today on the podcast, we'll be talking about a series that truly captivated some.
Confused so many.
Confused many.
The amount of DMs we got that were like, do you understand what's going on?
I mean, literally, we were getting ready to do this, and we're sitting down, and we're just, like, looking through our notes, and we're, like, whatever, prepping everything, and I just look at you, and I just go, do you, like, understand the mystery in this show? Did you, like, get it?
I got what they gave us, because it was left open-ended.
That's what, like, I think I got it up to a point, and then I think I confused myself.
There are a lot of pieces, and they have not put the puzzle back together.
Yeah, I think I confused myself.
Okay, let's start with the, like, nuts and bolts, and then we'll, like, go. We're talking Playboy.
Oh, yeah, Playboy.
We've had a metamorphosis here at LTV.
Talking about a show, listen, it all truly started with Big Dragon. I was so dedicated to Moss and Bang that I was like, I will be watching this show.
Did you ever think you'd be here watching? I never thought you'd watch all of this show.
I didn't either. Actually, by the time I was watching this show, I had, like, really, like, I'm desensitized now. I guess is what I would say.
Here's what I will say.
I used to be very, like, pearl clutchy. Like, it just would make me, like...
And now she's living with me, and you can't clutch your pearls when you live with me.
You truly can't. No, I think it was just that, like, I used to be so disinterested in those scenes that it would, like, when a show is built on that, it would annoy me. And so then I would just be, like, completely, like... not into it.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? And so I think now I've learned more to appreciate where plot points can come into play in those scenes. And I think that with NC scenes, like, that is one of the things that BL has done really right with NC scenes. Now, there are a lot of things BL has done really wrong with NC scenes. There are a lot of things that, like, fans and companies and whatever have done really, really wrong with the NC scenes. But I think that in some cases, the power of the way that they can use an NC scene for the plot, I think is just, like, it's a really interesting piece of BL that I think is just so unique to BL.
I think Pit Babe utilized that really well.
Yeah, Pit Babe did it really well. Like, there are some series that do it really well and use NC scenes for a reason in the plot, rather than, like, a Game of Thrones is a good example of, like, it's just nakedness for nakedness, right? Like,
Yes, I agree. Okay, let's get to the nuts and bolts, because, like, there's a lot of them. So, this is 12 episodes, I think. I actually meant to, like, double check that, because I write these things, and then I'm like, I'm pretty sure this actually
like, it felt like 12 in my heart, but
well, because, like, series usually have 12 episodes, and, hold please. I realized I meant to...
Oh my god, do you think we'll get scolded again?
It's 14 episodes, I'm so sorry.
You had a big day.
Somebody... Y'all, okay, let me just soapbox for a second. This is our channel, and if we want to, like, do things on the fly, let us do things on the fly. If you don't like us, don't watch our channel. Thank you. Get out of here.
I still think you're perfect.
Oh, sorry. I listen to a lot of podcasts, and I just, like, in those moments that we get those stupid comments from honestly stupid haters on the internet, I'm like, I would never. And there are sometimes where podcasters say stupid things, and, like, especially the celebrity podcast now, because they're a dime a dozen. Literally everybody has a celebrity has a celebrity podcast where they interview other celebrities.
Right.
And it's truly, like, the epitome of white privilege, because these people will say things. And one of my favorite ones I do love, Dax Shepard has a podcast.
Oh, yeah, I love Armchair Expert.
And it's funny because they fact check themselves at the end of every episode, which is very smart. We're not going to do that because you need to get over it. And so I just think it's really smart to do that. But we're going to fact check ourselves, like, in real time. So, like, just think of it as that.
Yeah. If Dax Shepard can do it, we can do it. Thank y'all.
Listen, that's my soapbox. We're about to end season 4.
Yeah.
We're going into season 5. If you don't like us, turn the internet off, yo.
I feel like Haters Got Nothing by Trinity starts playing.
I do love that song.
It's a great song.
It's a banger. Okay, I'm so sorry. I got off. It's 14 episodes. It's on Gaga Ooh La La. This was done by Copier, which has given us such quality content, such as War of Y and Y Destiny. Listen, going into this, you know exactly what you're gonna get from these series.
If you're into this company.
Also, it was written by the same screenwriter that did Only Friends, so again, you know exactly what you're gonna get going into this. And I will say, going into this, I was like, you know, let's see what's gonna happen. I had no expectations. Some shows you just go into and you're like, I'm gonna watch this because like it's on, and some shows you stick with and some shows you don't. And like this one I stuck with because I was just confused, and I was like, maybe I'll become less confused.
This one I watched live up to a point, and then I was like,
never mind.
No. Partially because I was like, I need to binge this because now I'm confused, and maybe if I watch it all in order, it'll make more sense.
Did it? No. Okay. It is starring. Okay. First of all, if you have not watched our Shell and Deck interview, you should.
Shell and Deck, I would die for them. I just want everyone to know right now, I would literally fling myself off a cliff for them.
These are truly the most beautiful boys that have ever existed.
Holy
I'm so sorry
cow.
if you think that your ult is the most beautiful. No. We don't even really stan these boys. Like, I mean, we stan every single boy, but like, we don't like. They're not sad, but
I am truly in awe of Shell and Det and just like
their gorgeousness.
Oh my god!
My favorite thing though was, didn't you say you were like, how did this show take such beautiful boys and make them kind of ugly?
Yeah, because they like, especially like Det is the real surprise because Shell is Shell, and Shell is always just gonna look like Shell because Shell, when you are Shell,
you're gorgeous.
You can't there's
beautifully.
Nothing you can do
he
to
just woke
rough
up like
that exterior.
Yeah.
But Det, because of the hair, he has hair circa Irwin Mayday era.
Yeah.
And as a very dedicated Irwin stan, I was triggered, first of all. And second of all, I didn't like it on Irwin either. Yeah. And so I think that I was just like,
why?
It really, and I understand that the hair was the most powerful tool they had for like the whole twin thing.
Right.
So it made sense to me. But like, I was like, I just wasn't expecting when they popped on for that interview. I think because I had only seen them in the show. When they popped on, I was like, oh. Like, truly, I've never been like speechless, breathless, and I was like,
it was loud. Okay, so then we have Zoe, played by Korn, Tina, played by Cow Oat. Side note, didn't know Tina's name. I don't think they said it in the show. I think he was just like someone who banged a boy. Like, I don't think he actually had a plot point. We have First, played by Chat, Sung, played by Jack. We'll talk about them in a minute. We have Captain, played by Vivett, my favorite. Keen, played by Boat. Porsche or Porsche? I think Porsche. Played by Faye. Jump, played by Jeffy. Pun, played by Parm. Obe, played by On. That's fun. Pop, played by View. A doll of a boy. And Nut, played by Win.
Yeah, Captain is also my favorite. I didn't realize Captain became your favorite.
He did.
Oh, that's fun. Because Captain was my favorite from the jump.
I know. Yeah. No. Okay. We rarely have the same favorites, and like in this,
know.
Yeah. I'm obsessed. I'm obsessed with Captain.
Okay. Synopsis time. When Zoe's best friend Nant goes missing, his twin brother Nant came to investigate. Zoe joins force with First to help Nant solve the case. Delving into Nant's past, the trio finds themselves entering dark communities of the sex industry, illegal pornography, online hookups with drug dealing,
oh my God,
covert sex work, and sex love revenge exposing humans' darkest nature.
Interesting.
In the meantime, Zoe, who's afraid of sex, is seduced by his nude model senpai.
Throwing in some Japanese in there? Oh, right, because the anime. My bad. Continue on. Keep going. You got it. You got it.
While first delved so deep into the ecstasy of sex when met with Soong, an ex-sex worker, that he might become sex addicted, will they find the missing person, or will they discover some hidden truth about themselves during this daunting journey?
Truly, the synopsis isn't as unhinged as this entire series was.
That was one of the harder ones to read, because when I got to Senpai, I have you seen this meme? And it was like, it was a joke meme, but it was about the like when there was all that news coverage going on about the like Temple of Satanism or whatever, and there's this like meme of this dude being like. And he talks really fast, and I used to have the whole monologue memorized, and I don't anymore.
Oh
but at the end, he just goes, "Notice me, senpai, notice me." And anytime I hear the word senpai, that's all I can think of. And so, like, I flashed to that, and then I remembered the anime porn that was happening, and then this one was a hard one for me to get through.
Okay, first of all, I will say with this series, it started very NC heavy, and then they did wane. They definitely relied on certain characters to carry the sex through the entire rest of the series, but I think we got about an NC scene an episode, if not more.
More. I think if you average it out, it's more.
Yeah.
Because there were some episodes that were like...
banging.
Just from... minute 1 to the very last second.
Yeah, I will say once Zoe unlocked his like sex fear, him and Tina were banging on the reg.
Yeah, so I think if you like average it out.
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay, where do you want to start?
Maybe with.
Do you want to go by couple?
That's what I was thinking.
That'd be fun.
And what if we start with the first
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
What if we start with
couples.
the first couple that we meet in the show, right? Which would be Tina and Zoe,
right?
Right.
Maybe.
Why don't we just start with them so we can be done with them?
Yeah, they started heavy in the show with like them being the focus, even though it was about the twins. But then you got to a point where like it was just about them banging. But then also it turns out he was also being assaulted by the daddy.
Right.
Right? From the beginning.
Right.
Which is why he had the sex issue.
Right.
What was that guy's name? My bad.
There were just so many people in the show. Okay. While you're looking that up, there were just so many people in this show that
Jason Lee.
In the beginning, it was hard for me to honestly in the beginning it was hard for me to keep track of like the group of friends of like whose name was whose.
Okay, so I do know this. I know
it now.
First,
but like,
Zoe,
Captain,
Nant, like the original twin.
Original Nant, yeah.
And Porsche.
Yeah. But like when we like, I would say the first like three or so episodes, I was like, I know he's in the group of friends, but which one is he again?
Yeah.
Just because they're like between the three of them, plus the group of sex worker friends, plus it was just like a lot of people, and that's like.
There were a lot of people.
I understand. I really liked being able to have this big complex story, but when it came to trying to figure out who like someone was talking about because they only referred to them by name, I would get confused.
Yeah, and there weren't really any clear. There were a lot of different settings, so like there wasn't really any clear movement between
the groups.
Yeah. It was very confusing. And then you had on top, and also because you had like so many different like levels of story. So like you had the overarching story, which is finding the twin.
Yes.
But then you had this sub story of each individual friend and their sex issue.
Right.
And then you have this, what I would consider the third level, which was Pob and Nut and their love story / their involvement in the group of friends, because they seemingly feel very separate from the group of friends, but they're also involved because you have this, you realize halfway through that Nut has something to do with Nant.
Right.
And then he had the dog mask, which is being stored by Keen. And it was just all so confusing.
There was just so much. So for Zoe and Tina, I think...
What do you have to say about them? I don't know.
I think that their story would have been less like, huh, to everyone, or less like it almost didn't have as much impact as like I think it should have, because of the order in which information was revealed to us as viewers.
Oh yeah, I agree.
I think that if they switched up the order in which we like learned more about, like, especially Zoe, and I understand why they did it that way, because it was like revealing in the same way that like people in his real life didn't know those layers. Right. You know what I mean? So like I understand why they did it that way. I just think as viewers it made their story less impactful, because at that point we built up such like a ugh to them that once you get the like details.
You know what this reminds me of? Oh my god, and this makes so much more sense. You know how in Only Friends they were like, I didn't believe that they were friends, or how were they friends, or what? So like the fact that Zoe had this whole issue with Jason Lee, like at what point did these boys become friends? Because was he introduced to Jason Lee in college, and therefore like that's so. Were they MIA? They just didn't know this big important part about him during that time?
Right. And of course with any kind of abuse, like it is Zoe's like prerogative to keep it private if he wants to keep it private. And so like your friend, just because somebody is friends with somebody or knows somebody or is roommates with somebody doesn't necessarily mean they're gonna know, especially in an abusive situation like that is going on or what's happening there. So again, like I understand it, and now that you reminded me about the Only Friends overlap, this is very, I would say, like similar to the situation of like what went down when Boston was like almost kind of gaslighting about Mew and Cowtongue.
Oh, yes.
Right? Where he was like saying like, no, they definitely hooked up, whatever, right?
Yeah.
Like all this stuff. And everybody was like, well, the only flashback we saw was that one time that they kissed, but there was more to it. And then, but then people were second guessing themselves because they were like, well, but Boston said there was more to it. And so it's a lot of like holes.
Yeah.
Right? That you as a viewer, right? Essentially, I would say it's probably like reading a book with an unreliable narrator, which is like a definite literary style. Yeah. And I think that it's essentially watching this is like watching or like reading a book with an unreliable narrative, or like watching, what is that movie with James McAvoy with the multiple personalities?
Memento?
Split.
Yeah.
Or like United States of Terror or something, right? Like where like you have the protagonist at the center is an unreliable narrator.
Yeah, I agree, because like the like narrator kind of switches often in the series. So yeah, it's very confusing.
It's confusing, but it's also like the more I talk about it, the more I'm like, this is a really cool, smart way to do a show.
Yeah.
But like as a viewer, it was hard for me.
Yeah, the first time. I feel like I need to watch it 10 more times to like really. Yeah. And potentially we'll get another season.
Yeah.
I mean,
listen, all I know is I want a Shell tumbler.
Me too.
I want a Shell and Det tumbler. Can we order Shell and Det tumblers?
I was literally thinking that. We're the worst. We're the worst. Okay, I won't say that. Okay, anyways, next up let's get first in song out of the way.
Okay.
Because I'm not gonna lie, I fast forwarded through most of their storyline because it was so stupid. Like, it was just about the fact that like First in his like pretty boy rich privilege had a daddy that didn't love him in the way that he wanted him to love him, and so he like needed to bang this boy. It was it's just stupid. And listen,
this is Beth Ann speaking as someone who's never had like Trauma, remember? What did you say about
Yeah.
I've never had trauma.
We cut that. We didn't actually air that. Yeah. But like, it was.
Everybody's trauma is valid, Beth Ann.
It's true. They just, the way that they use these boys, also with the English, I think that's what killed me.
That's what killed me.
The English with the subtitles did not match the English, which was really funny. But the fact that they like switched back and forth and like, it was weird. It was like, just weird.
And I never did quite understand like the nature of their relationship in the very beginning. Like, I never did figure out, like, was it... Because he was like, I'm not, like, you can't pay me. I'm not a prostitute, right? Like, by, I don't know, it was, like, episode 3 or 4, where, like, he's called him back and he's, like, left his part-time job or whatever. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yes.
That scene with the pizza?
Yes.
Yeah. And so I never quite did, in the beginning, figure out, like, was it genuine in the beginning, or was it actually some sort of, like, setup? You
right, because you have that whole conversation where first here's Soong telling his friends, or his friends are telling Soong, like, you need to leave this boy alone because, like, you're just leading him on. And he's like, but I'm not leading him on. And like, I do want to be with him, but like, also I can't leave the sex work because like, I need to make money.
Right.
And like, I just feel like they didn't really flesh out that storyline to make it as deep as it could have been. And also just like that creative choice of like the English. Because it wasn't... This is the thing, when you have Thai speakers making English dialogue, it doesn't flow like an English conversation would. And I think in those situations, it doesn't lend itself to the interaction between these characters because it like makes it unnatural.
And I understand that they were trying to show that like there is like privilege here, right? Because like in Thailand, on some level, people that can speak English could afford to go to an international school or send their kids to boarding school or whatever it is, right?
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, it's more so than not. If you are wealthy, you do speak English.
Right.
If you speak English, you are wealthy.
Yeah. So I understand like what they were trying to do with it, but it did make it hard. Like, it would take you out of the scene.
Yeah. Yeah.
But at the same time, we talk all the time about how like this isn't for us. These shows aren't for us.
Yeah, I wonder
for
what
Thai viewers, I would love to hear from like a Thai perspective of like,
what does that sound
did
like?
it affect you in the same way it affected English speakers? Of like, it kind of takes you out of the scene because you're like, wait, huh? Or
just non-native English speakers,
right.
Not even Thai, but like non-native English speakers who are like, oh yeah, that's just English.
Because again, like just like every other show, like this media isn't actually for us. So like, that creative choice potentially worked really, really well for the audience it was actually intended for.
Yeah, I agree. Okay, let's go to Porsche and Jump.
Okay.
They were just stupid. They were just funny to watch because it was literally their plot point was Porsche wanted a sex slave and Jump was that for him.
We love consensual BDSM.
But then it turned out Porsche was a sugar baby to Jason Lee. And that Jump really loved Porsche, and he did not want him to be a sugar baby.
Listen, this is why people, if you're gonna do casual hookups and if you're gonna do, like, sex slaves and things like that, like, basically anything that's, like, a no-strings situation or, like, a no-relationship situation that's, like, this is just about sex.
Yeah.
You need to have clear communication. If you're a bad communicator, I'm so sorry, but you can't do just sex.
Yeah.
You have to have good communication because you have to be able to communicate very clearly
what you want,
what you expect out of this. And then if feelings do arise, you have to be able to communicate very clearly of like, hey, something has changed for me. Has anything changed for you? If not, I got to dip. Right? So listen, if you yourself are sitting at home thinking, should I get myself a sex slave? I think your first step needs to be evaluating your level of interpersonal communication.
That's true. That's such good advice. I'm sure so many people listening to this podcast are coming for that type of advice. Oh my gosh. Honestly, I have nothing else to say about Porsche and Jump.
Yeah, I feel like we therapized. We're
Yeah.
good.
Really? Okay, the next couple I want to talk about is Pun and Obe. Because honestly, they were one of the more interesting storylines. When they first develop, they're like the two sex workers. So this is the only sex worker on sex worker relationship that we get. And it all kind of starts with somebody, I believe it starts with somebody, well, it starts with Poon having to train Obe, or the other way around. I'm so sorry, I can't keep track of who's who.
Again, there's so many names.
There are so many names. One
you
of
know her face, but you might not know her
yeah,
name.
one of the
Shout
boys.
out Jungkook. If you get that reference, please comment because I make that reference a lot
It's
and
really
nobody ever
funny.
gets it.
Wait, I have the cast up right here. I can tell you because I do know her face, but I do not know her name. Okay, so it is Obe who is training Poon to be a sex worker, and of course, Poon falls in love because duh. And then Obe is like, I also want to fall in love, but my heart was broken by Jason Lee, my original sex worker partner, daddy. Sorry.
Sex mentor.
Daddy.
Daddy.
Another. And so I just thought the nature of when On played this really well because Obe is a character. Like, he made him so dynamic when they're having that scene where they're sitting on the bed and they're having that initial conversation of, like, should we bang, should we not bang? And Obe is like, I've been here before with the no strings attached relationship, and it broke my heart. And he was like, I had my heart broken. And, like, it was actually like one of the more poignant scenes that stood out to me of like these two characters, like you were talking about, communicating about their past, about who they are, because I feel like that's where we get a lot of missing pieces is like nobody really communicates like their history and who they are. And so these two characters I thought were really interesting. And then it made no sense because then they were on the run. I guess because Jason Lee was going after Obe because, like, he wanted him to come back and be his sugar baby. Or, like, I didn't understand. Oh, no. I think because he left the club. Because you find out Jason Lee runs the club.
Yeah.
And so then, like, he's a sex worker on the run. Like, again, it really breaks down. At some point, I just don't understand where it all connects.
Yeah, that was my problem with this show is I was like, and then because I knew there was a bigger mystery, I kept trying, like my brain kept trying to be like, okay, I know there's probably a clue in here somewhere, and so then I was like trying to make connections where there weren't connections.
I feel like
just my brain go blur.
Yeah, I feel like discussing this show is like you have a clear thought because you have two characters, and then at some point you lose it because you're like, wait a second,
you just get lost in the sauce, baby. I don't know what to tell you.
It's true. Okay, loved them. You have any thoughts about them?
I mean, yeah, I think they were probably the most solid couple out of every single couple, which is like fascinating.
True.
I think that
especially the cute little scene where they're like on the run and they're like living in the like laundry room. I thought that was actually really cute.
They're really
talking
sweet.
about
like,
their chicken business.
Like you really like pull for them in their future. Like they're the only ones that like I would want to see in another season. Like that if any of these were to spin off and like be their own show, that's the show I want, right?
Interesting.
Like,
yeah, I agree.
I think that like
sex workers.
Yeah, they had real depth. They had real
really
chemistry.
did.
They communicated well, but they had their dramatic moments. I really liked them. I think they were like probably coulda shoulda been their own show.
Yeah, I agree. I liked them a lot. Okay.
Poppin' Nut.
Where are we going? Oh, Poppin' Nut.
Poppin' Nut now.
Yeah. They were so interesting. Pop as a character, I will say, was really fascinating because you got a lot of who he was currently. Like, you don't really know. Like, you know a little bit because you find out that, like, he's having to send money back to his family, right? And so he's like a street sex worker / drug dealer, right?
Yeah.
that finds himself in a relationship with Nut, who
he's not with the other main group of
right
club boys. Yeah.
Which is why you're really confused with their storyline. Their storyline felt so separate from the main group up until you find out that Nut and Nant had a connection.
Yeah.
And that also Nut knows Keen.
Because, yeah, at first you're basically, who are these randos? Why are we introducing more people? Yeah.
And, yeah, then it turns out that Nut is, intertwined with mainly just the twin, I guess.
Right.
And then it turns out Pob, at the very last second, potentially has some type of connection, and maybe the person that killed Nant. Right?
Yeah.
That's the implication, because
that's the implication.
But oh my god, I will say, every ridiculous thing aside, his overdose scene was really hard to watch and really well acted. My god.
Yeah, that was rough.
It was very well done. I will say, this show has its moments.
Yeah.
It's a well done show for the shit show that it is.
I think that yes, it was very well done. Most of the dialogue was actually really good. I think that for me as a viewer, when it became a shit show, if you will, was
I will.
The fact that was the order in which the information was provided to me. It wasn't even the pacing of the show. It was the order of the show.
Yeah, because the pacing was fine.
Rearrange some of the episodes potentially, that might help. Is this a Star Wars scenario where you actually are supposed to watch it out of order or whatever?
I mean, that's what we've talked about a lot. There's quite a few series that I'm they need more script development.
Yeah.
That's the one thing that a lot of Thai series that I've watched that I'm oh, something's missing, and it's script development. It needs a few more editing.
More connections.
Yeah.
Yeah. Needs those grooves in the in-betweens.
Because there are some conversations when Nut goes to jail and Nant is talking to Pop, and he's I may be the reason that his brother died. And you're what? We're on the last episode. Why are we revealing this information? My brain go blur.
My brain go blur.
I truly don't know. Okay, next up. Let's do Captain and Keen.
Okay, I was going to ask, do we do Captain and Keen or Not in Prom?
I think Not in Prom last, because they're kind of the main. Yeah.
Okay.
Captain and Keen.
Captain is a little gem.
Captain,
and I know everybody started getting mad at him around EP 2 or 3 because they were it's his fault.
Yes.
But I believed in him and I was rooting for him.
It's true. He had a journey. Because you talked about, you started the series and then you dropped off for a second because you were oh god, I need to binge this. And then, so he started out okay. He was fine. He was just
I thought he was so cute.
Comic relief.
Yeah.
And then he turned a little evil because you find out that Captain was the reason that something happened.
Captain was the reason that Nant met or went into that world.
Yes.
He was
because he released a sex tape.
Yes.
That's what it was. My god. Oh my god. But then you find out that Captain feels bad. That he didn't mean to do it. And their storyline also, with, Keen, Captain with Keen, their storyline confused me because you also have the, other storyline of the team. What sport was this? Is it water polo?
Yeah, I wanted to say swimming. But I don't think it was just a swim team.
I think it was water polo.
Okay.
We'll go with that. Tell us in the comments.
Maybe it was just swimming.
Unclear. They never actually did the sport.
Yeah, that's what, I know there was, a pool involved. That's why I went with, I think they were just, on the swim team. Because everybody's just, on the swim team.
Yeah. So then, yeah, you find out that, like, there's this other storyline of, like, you can't be gay on the swim team, but everyone's banging each other because, oh gosh, somebody from the sex workers was, like, involved with someone on the team.
Yeah. It was...
Was it? Wasn't it Poon?
I was
Poon is
thinking
banging.
Poon. I
Poon?
can't remember if it was Poon or Og.
I think it's Poon is banging Keen.
Okay.
That's what it was. Good God.
Again, there's just so many people.
And they're all connected, but in ways that really don't make sense.
Yeah.
Because you're like, wait, what is happening?
Maybe we shouldn't talk about this series because I feel like every time we get around, like, we'll start talking about something and then we'll just be like, my brain go blur.
I mean, go watch the series. But here's the thing. This is why we, like, do the podcast and we talk to you guys and we're like, tell us what you think. Because I'm sure you guys are sitting, wherever you're sitting listening to this and being like, Mungun, which means same and tie.
Or you want to just answer all our questions.
Yes, or you want to answer all the questions. And if you want to answer all the questions, as we have done in the past, go to the comments and tell us.
Please
because
tell us.
It is so helpful. On the sign, we had so many people be like, this is what I thought. And it was so helpful and informative and we like learned a lot. But then, yeah, I will say they gave Captain and Keen like a fun little like comeback together and like a little bit of a happily ever after.
They did.
Because Keen got back on the coaching, I believe. I think maybe.
Yeah. And I just think Vivid and Boat are really good together.
I do too. Oh, yeah, that's the other thing. That scene where yeah. I guess it would be Wibbit.
Yeah, it's a wee-wee.
The scene where I think it's Captain is talking to somebody and Keen is below him because they've like broken up at that point. Like they're mad. He's mad at him. And Captain is like, I really loved him. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yes, it's just funny. Like, it's like this whole episode is like, it's funny for me, like watching you like talk through some of these things because it just reminds me so much of sometimes when I'll be in Thai class because I'm at the point in Thai class where I'm like telling stories. So my Thai teacher will put pictures on the screen and I have to explain what.
Yes.
I have to tell the story based on the pictures.
Cute.
And so I'll be like, he opened the door. He turned on the lights. And then, right, because I'm like learning connecting words, right?
Yeah.
So I'll be like, and then he made breakfast. And so it's just like
that's how I feel. I'm literally thinking of like the picture of that scene in my head.
I have to think about it.
But I'm like, I think they said words.
It's like I know what happened and I'm looking at this, but now I have to explain it with my words. Yeah. It's just as funny because it reminds me of myself in Thai class.
But I remember that scene being like really sweet to watch because Captain is a character that kind of has moments where you're like, is he sincere? You're not really sure because like he kind of does these things where he like runs like a website where he puts up videos of people having sex.
And then he'll be like flippant about it to some people, but then he'll be like, I feel so like, I have feelings too. Like
so he's like a complicated character. So when he does have those moments of like real emotion, you're like, oh, it's okay, sweetie. I
believed in you.
Yeah.
I'm rooting for you.
Would you say he's on the same level as like Boston, but like better than Boston?
Better than Boston.
Yeah.
There's nobody as bad as Boston.
No.
I dare you name me a character as bad as Boston.
It's true. Okay, last but not least, Nanton Prom. I don't.
Okay. I think at the very least all we can do is appreciate Shell and Det.
True.
Because here's the thing, is I
did love that banging montage. I don't know why we got it, but I'm not going to complain.
We got it because, and here's my main beef with this, we got that because we didn't get any resolution ever about who they were as people and about who they were as like a couple.
That's true.
And so, like, they were like, I don't know, I guess we can resolve this with some banging. Like,
we literally know nothing about prom.
Mystery. There was so much mystery around them, and I was so excited to get to the bottom of the mystery. And they never gave me that resolution. And I don't know, maybe we're getting season 2, and maybe that'll come, and maybe the whole point was, like, to, like, I don't know.
Up.
Maybe they're just playing, like, a fun little game of like series edging. I don't know. But like,
oh my God. That was the best metaphor you could have ever come up with for this show.
it just really, really freaking bothered me that they were the center of this whole
And we know nothing.
mystery and you never got to learn the resolution.
Here's my question. Do you think Prom was in love with Nant?
Yes.
The first twin.
Yes.
The dead twin.
I do.
Is the twin dead?
I don't think so.
That was the other
they
thing.
Wanted to make us believe he was dead, but I don't think
He was
dead.
actually dead.
Yeah.
Because that was the other thing. There were moments where we were like, is not Nant? Is this a split personality
Right.
situation?
Yeah.
Is he really dead? Is he not really dead? Because he technically dies like halfway through the series when they like discover his body. So like unclear.
Yeah. Anyways, that was my main beef with them, and all I can say is, listen, they knew what they were doing when they cast Shell in debt, because, like, I can't even be mad, because, like, I got Shell in debt.
They had great chemistry.
They have incredible chemistry.
And even though they were saying nothing words to each other, I was like, yes, more of this.
I know, they were talking in friggin' circles.
They really
It
were.
was so stupid.
And it was interesting because they were there. The confusing part about their relationship was they were developing a relationship with each other, but with so many layers of other people intertwined. And I think
Yeah.
that's what was hard about their relationship, is that there was always like Nant was always there, and like the club was always
they were
there,
never
and
alone
like
in their relationship. That's
yeah,
a good
like
point.
there were so many layers to it that I was like, once yeah, because we got no resolution of like who did or did not kill Nant and what actually happened with Nant. So like that's the moment where you get Prom and Nant developing a real relationship, and we never got there because we never got resolution for like Nant and his whole like mission in life. Once we get resolution for him, it'll be rainbows and butterflies.
But will we?
Okay, let's just finish the series Sunday because my brain hurts. My brain hurts so bad trying to explain pictures in this series. Will you rewatch this?
Unclear.
I really want to now that we've talked
Maybe.
about it, because
Yeah,
I'm like, maybe I missed something.
Now that I talked more about, I feel like maybe we need to binge it together.
That would be
because
fun.
then we can like ask each other. We can be like, wait, what do you think that like? We can like pause it and be like, wait, hold on.
Not that we have time for this. Maybe we'll do this summer. This will be a summer fun activity. If you are one of the wonderful people that subscribe to our channel for who knows what reason, because we literally do nothing,
We much like Playboy talk in circles.
tell us if you want to like react to a rewatch. That'd be fun, right? Behind our paywall.
Yeah.
Because didn't we decide that like potentially it could work if we like had it behind the paywall?
Right, because we have problems with copyright. Like we tried to do reaction to Kin Porsche and we kept getting friggin' copyright strikes.
Yeah.
And so that's why we were like, if we do it behind the paywall, maybe it'll work. If you know the logistics of this, please tell us.
Tell us.
Yeah.
That'd be interesting. A live rewatch.
Oh wait, or we could just we could just like stream on Twitch or something. Like it doesn't have to happen on YouTube.
Oh, true. Maybe we'll think about it.
Yeah, we'll figure it out.
We do.
It's
Yes.
like a super long IG live.
Oh my god, that would be funny.
Like where are we not going to get the copyright strike? I think Twitch. I think you can straight up do that on Twitch. I know you can do it on Discord.
We'll look into it.
We'll look into it if people are like, yeah.
Yeah, I agree. Watching it with a friend. You need a friend.
Yeah, you need a friend because you need to be able to pause and be like, okay, did we just see the same thing? You know what I mean? Like,
yeah. Or like, what did you see in that scene? What happened in that scene?
yeah.
Other than that boy dicking that boy down. Would you recommend this to literally anybody?
No.
That's the question. Not even a first-time viewer. Literally anybody.
Oh, yeah, there are some people I'd recommend this to, but definitely not a first-time viewer. Jovi needs to watch the hell out of the show. Hundo P. I actually don't know if Jovi's watched this or not. I need to ask him about it.
I think Robbie has.
Robbie's definitely watched it. Robbie and I talked about it.
Nice.
But yeah, Jovi needs to watch it. There are some people that I'm like, yeah, they need to watch the show. Yeah. Listen, there's a lid for every jar.
Oh, it's true. Okay. Do we have anything to promote?
We do. First is coming to America.
Go to
Oh
Dallas.
my God. Go to Dallas. There are tickets. It's going to be incredible. This is only the second fan meeting ever in real life in the United States of America, and it's the first one ever in Texas.
Yes.
And if we want more of these things to happen, we have to go to them. So, also, First is a freaking gem of a boy.
Yeah.
And he's going to be so much fun, and he's going to put on such a good show. He could sing, he could dance, he could entertain. He's incredible, and you absolutely need to see him. He will be here in April. He'll be here April 9th in Dallas. It's going to be so good. Please go get your tickets. Link is in bio. And a week from today, we were participating in Fan Olympics.
Yes. Watch Fan Olympics. It's going to be so fun. There are going to be some special guests. We're going to tease that now because, some actors that you may love and adore.
Some cute little smiling faces that aren't even ours.
I know. It's going to be so fun. But until then, this has been Let's Talk BL. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and follow all things Let's Talk BL at Let's Talk BL. My brain hurts. My brain got blur.